Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Derek Invest. I'm your host, Derek Miller. What we're going to talk about today, companies that have heavy short interest in the stock. So tomorrow we have the Fed announcement, which can either, from my perspective, the Fed announcement usually creates some chaos to the stock market, whether it's down or whether it's up. But usually it's immediately reversed, and the market just continues on the path it was already on. I have never really seen these announcements turn a market over and then change its direction. Right now, it's an interesting time to have this Fed announcement because there is a general weakness in the stock market. The Nasdaq is not making new highs. The S&P is touching its previous highs, and the Dow is making new highs, which means our leader, technology, and the leading industry, artificial intelligence, they're not leading right now. They're leading the way down. So, while I'll say the Dow is the new leader, that's because the Dow is reaching new highs and the Nasdaq isn't. But the truth be told, the leader is always tech, and tech right now is pointing down, not up. So it's an interesting time for this to be occurring because oftentimes what will happen too is tech will take a correction. So it appears as though the Dow takes over and then tech just storms off to new highs. So this is an interesting time for the Fed announcement, but what can happen with companies that have high levels of short interest? So you guys out there that work within the markets, I know you know this, heavy short interest can do two things. One, it can drive a stock price down, and create more and more weight on top of this company that drives the price down. But the other thing that can happen is a short squeeze, which can create huge pops in price. And so with us being at the juncture we are in the stock market right now, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at these companies and see if there's any setups there that maybe give us an idea of where we think the general market's heading and where these companies are heading. Maybe try to find some target prices, some target dates, and just see what we see. So the leading company here, the heaviest company with short interest is SMCI. That should come as no surprise. American Airlines, APTV, Charter, ENPH, Enphase, Etsy. I can't see anything else here. Wells Boots. What's IP? Well, we'll find out. We're going to take a look at these companies right now. I am going to share my screen with you, and let's see what we see, everyone. Let's take a peep and see what we see. All right. Now, for all of you that are just tuning in, maybe you haven't seen this show before and you're curious as to what I meant about the NASDAQ making lower highs and the Dow making higher highs. Here is the NASDAQ as of July 11th. It made its high. Then here we go. This is the bounce off the August 5th. This is Thursday, August 22nd. That's a lower high. And then today, this was in all respects a reversal. It was a gap up, but this was a reversal. So potentially a lower high. This could also lead us right into higher territory. So that's why I say we don't know if it's the leader yet. Okay. That's what we're trying to find out. Here's the S&P. July 11th, falls into August 5th, comes back, touches the high, reverses, and here we are today. Again, another reversal, did not make a new high, kind of peeped through it, took a look, but didn't like it there. Here we are in the Dow. So here is your, this is actually July 18th, believe it or not. Let's go back. Look at this. July 11th is right here. July 11th is right there. So here's your July 18th, makes a new high, August 5th, comes up into August 30th, new high, drops back down, new high as of yesterday. Today was a bit of a reversal, but still maintaining a new high, but it didn't actually get higher than yesterday. So that's an interesting thing to look at. But as for us, we are interested in companies that have high levels of short interest. And here's one, SMCI. On a daily chart, here you are. On this channel, and the way that I invest is I am always looking for where institutional money is, institutional traders, so the more knowledgeable hands of the market, if you will. And I look for their action. I look to see places that they appear. How do we know where they appear? Well, they create huge trading activity. What is huge trading activity? It is volume. Do we see any volume here to speak of? We certainly do. on August 26th. It looks like there's a lot of volume. Let's zoom in on that. We'll go down to a daily chart. And here we are. What did that day look like? Well, we had a high of 487.47, a low of 395, closing out at 443. So we closed 40 points higher, or 50 points higher than the low, and we closed about 40 points from the high. So a little above halfway in that day. So the odds are that if this were selling, we would have a steep sell-off, definitely breaking to new lows. If there were a lot of buying here, we probably would still break to new lows to see if there was some more supply. And as we broke to new lows, we should see far less volume, and there should be a decent bounce. So here we are. What's the low here? 382. So it barely broke to a new low. It did, but barely broke to a new low. And then we have a bounce. Let's zoom in on that picture. How we zoom in, everybody, is we change the time frame. That is what we do. We do not try to get closer to the screen. We change the time frame up. Let's see. The rally, it rallied into a high of 469.46. It looks as though the low here is what? The low here is 513, which has not yet been accomplished. There does appear to be a substantial amount of volume taking place down here. I would say it does. It's right here. I would say that's some substantial volume. Pretty. I would say the average volume in this particular chart is right about. Let's get a horizontal line here. I would say it's right about there. Let me make that a little thicker. There we go. So I would say there is some substantial volume at play here. Most definitely. Let's zoom in a little bit more. See if we can't come up with how we think we get to 513, or if we think we get to 513. This looks like buying taking place here. Price sitting at 440, and the close of that big volume day was 443. You're sitting at 439, and it's trying to rally to a new high. I would say, okay, we have a gap down here that filled. We have a gap here. This gap filled. We have a gap down that filled. All right. It does look as though there's a reversal happening. Lot of volume at the high price here. Lot of volume at 469. Look at that. Look at this area, everybody. This is important. These charts tell us stories. And right there, that story is we're selling into this. We're selling into the rally. That's the story on a 15-minute chart. And if you follow me, you know that a 15-minute chart is looking out about 10 trading days. So that's interesting. Let's zoom in. Let me remove that. Let's zoom into a 5-day. All right, there's your volume. How far did it come off? It came off that, I'm going to call it 60 to 40, 20 points. Came off 4%. Lot of volume down at this current level, though. Lot of volume at this current level. I would not want to. I don't have a price target for you other than 513. It looks as though, let's see how far back we have to go. I mean, this to me right here is a gimme. Even 520. Call it 520 as a gimme. I would not. Let's call 520. All right. I would not want to be short this stock. We are blue. It is 9/17/2024. Oh. Sorry about that. 9/17/2024. We are looking at SMCI. Target price 520. Whoops. 520. Your target date, you're on a 1-hour chart, so your target date can be out quite far. but this stock's a mover, and it has high short interest, which means it should get there relatively quickly. But we do have a potential general kind of we have general weakness in the market, or a high potential for general weakness. I would not be short here. Okay, let's go ahead. Red. There you go. And that's what we're looking for. This has a high level of short interest, everyone. And this to me looks like it's ripe for a squeeze. Now, there is there's potential for general market weakness right now. There really, really is. It is showing its colors. It's not nosediving, and I don't see anything that tells me it's going to nosedive. If I were taking a guess, I would say we need to go back up to those high prices again, if in fact this is going to be the real deal. So that's not my opinion. Let's take a look at American Airlines. Again, high level of short interest. Here is your. Let's take a look at this on a weekly. Let's scoot out just a little bit on this one. So this thing's just been sort of leaking off, right? I mean, that's what it looks like here. No areas of substantial volume recently, except Monday, September 9th. High levels of short interest. What's this? May 29th on the daily. So you're looking up here at 1288. You're 1117. Move into a 4-hour. On a 4-hour, yeah, I mean that's 1342. You have a lot of short interest. You've rallied back to this thing. We're going to go back to the 4-hour in a second, because I think that's going to be our only real target. There's a gap down here that you better be mindful of, because the gaps on this chart are filling. They are filling. So you have down here at 1085. Let's go into a 15. All right, let's go into a 5. So in the short term, it looks to me (9/17, 2024) SMCI or SMCI AAL. You're looking at 1090. 1090. (18, 19, 20). We'll give it the 20th. 920. 4. Now we're going to go back to that 4-hour chart. Let's go back to that 4-hour chart. All right. And what do we see here, everybody? We see 1330. That's what we see. Go ahead and put this up. Hope everybody had a delightful trading day today. I myself had a very interesting day, 9/17, in the sense that we got whipsawed today, which, sometimes it can be good when the market sort of chooses a direction. For me today, it definitely did not choose a direction. I just got, I don't know that I was trying to force anything. but it just never really presented itself. It really didn't. I had an opportunity to make a few dollars this morning if I had just jumped out, but I wanted to play it a little more coming into tomorrow's Fed meeting. Turned out that wasn't the right decision for me. I could have simply skipped the second half of the day, but it didn't cost me anything either. It just it is what it is. You try to make money every single day. It doesn't happen every single day, but when you catch a nice trend, you catch a nice move, it's all worth it. Target date, let's see. We're on a 4 hour. I mean, gosh, so we have to. I have to quit using bad grammar all the time. I get tired sometimes and I start using bad grammar. We have a target date. I mean, you're going to go into 12-1 here. Now, there we go. So now you can see that there's some short-term downside here, but it certainly looks like, again, I'm gonna say that this is a short squeeze. This does not look like something you would want to be short on this. Let me add that actually. Do not be short here. You have a little downside, but let me tell you something. You don't want to be short for a little downside. It just doesn't look like much. It looks like what you were going to get out of the downside, you've gotten. And the one thing you have to do when you're an investor, when you're a trader, when you're in the markets trying to make money is you can't be greedy, right? You want the lion's share. You want the 80% of the move. When it comes down to the top or the bottom, it is best to sit out. And let me tell you something. I struggle with that myself. I'll know to sit out. And sometimes I'll say, oh, I can do this. I can do that. I've been doing this for 25 years. I can do it. You know what? It is always a mistake. I can't remember the last time it wasn't a mistake. Let's take a look at Etsy and APTV. And so, make sure that you remind yourself of these same things, because I don't care how long you've been doing this. Oh, gosh. This feels like, just looking at the chart, everyone, this feels like an odd chart to be short on. Just looking at it. I feel like I don't know why I would be short here. You are down into, whenever a stock goes parabolic, that's what this is right here, everyone. This right here, this run up. Whoop. Drag this down. Drag this over. The term that you should realize here is when it goes like that, when any company goes parabolic, and I can show you a million, they're going to retrace just like this. And usually they're going to retrace into the area that they took off from. And right here, looks like that area is about 64, 65. You're sitting down at 54. So I have to tell you, at first glance, I don't see any reason that you would want to be short here. It looks like there's a tremendous amount of buying at this low of 68.40 as well. I know this is a while ago. I know it's 2022, but we're looking at a monthly chart, and so it's gonna be a long ways away. This is it down there. So this is all that volume, but there's a ton of volume up here too. Let's move into the daily. See if we can make heads or tails of this. There's up here 58. You have something. Did this fill? Yeah, that's filled, by the way. This gap is filled. This is not a great chart for gaps. I can see that now. It loves gaps, but it doesn't always fill them. There's a gap up here at 58. This gap is not filled either, although you could argue with the price action in the background that this is not a reliable gap. You absolutely could. It looks like the downside here should happen down to 51 from 53. So I guess it depends on how long you're playing this thing, how far out you're going. But I mean, if you're looking at 52.30, if that's appealing to you, which is like what, about 5% below you, if that's appealing to you, I could see how that might interest you a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, this rally here is gonna be, they're gonna retrace that, although they retraced a good deal of it. You know what? On Etsy, I have no real opinion except for this. Let's go back to that monthly chart. I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a horizontal here for you. And then just simply say, I would not be short here. Bring that down. 9/17/2024. Let me go ahead and put both of those in blue so it's not confusing as to what I think about market direction there. And, I want you to remember something, everyone. I use these charts. I use these stocks as a teaching mechanism. I want you to learn from what I'm doing. I want you to see what I'm seeing. So if you have questions, by all means, make sure that you ask them. I'm gonna increase the size that just right here. There we go. And I'm gonna take a picture and save this. Okay. Here we go. Perfect. So let's check out APTV. This is another one. Let me see the monthly on it. I can't imagine why at this juncture I would want to be short. Again, the company goes parabolic right here from 2020 to 2021, from 30 to 180. Listen to me. That's parabolic, everybody. This is a 600 600% move. It's a 600% move. Anything that goes parabolic and has a 600% move, as we just discussed, we just talked about it, is going to retrace from where it came. Now, this one looks like it's at about $98. So you're going to come back into somewhere around here. I would call it like 85. So let's go ahead and draw it at 85. And simply say, and we're going to zoom in a little bit, everyone. I'm not just going to leave it like this. I'm going to zoom in. But 9/17/2024, whoop, 9/17/2024. Let's leave it as I would not be short here. Blow that up to 40. All right. Now I'll zoom in on this and we'll see if we can't get some near-term or long-term price targets. But for now, I can tell you that this particular company returning to 85 and then overshooting a little bit is exactly what you would expect. This is not a place to be short. This is just not a place to be short. I cannot stress that enough. I mean, my goodness, you're back in the you're just not short here. Okay, what do we see here? There's definitely volume down here at this area. It's 70, starting at 76, I would say, and there's substantial volume down there. Let's move into a daily. All right, that's fine. You have a huge reversal in August. Take a look at a 4-hour here. Okay, nothing. Here's a target. It's below you. $67.35. I mean, there's two targets below you, but I'm not going to highlight those targets because this company is so low. It's down so far. It's retraced everywhere it needs to go. It needs to go no further before this thing can go recapture some of its previous glory, which would probably put you somewhere. Let me go back to that monthly. Actually, I don't need to. Let me just zoom in. I mean, you should probably be reapproaching this $100 mark somewhere up here. You should have really smooth sailing until 90? Really smooth sailing until 90. You should absolutely probably revisit this area up here at 110. But there's no reason to be short there. So, I mean, I think that says enough there. Let's look at Charter, Enphase, and WBA. Okay, Charter. Now, this one is pretty beaten down, and it did go parabolic, but you also have another problem. It never really had 218, you're at 339. Blasted through here. It's catching the support, but odds are this thing's going to want to bounce up here to 305. Oh, gosh, it did. It bounced through. That's what I was getting. It's funny. It did exactly what I thought it would do. Come up here to 305, push through probably into the thick of this, and most likely reverse. But this, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. I like the volume there. Let's go into a daily. You see, you couldn't see that gap, but that's what drove that volume. Now it's okay, but it's reversed and filled this gap. Let's go into a 4-hour. Okay, it looks, I mean, so far it looks like upside is where it wants to go. There's no targets here. There's just no defined targets. Yeah, there's no defined targets there. I mean, it really is that simple. So let's move on to what I say. Enphase, ENPH. Again, these companies have a ton of short interest. And something that you do actually like to see as far if you're someone that thinks it's going to get a squeeze. Oh, look at that post. 118.44. Okay, that's not bad. Is this low volume? But we've been in a low volume scenario in the market in general here recently. So I don't know that matters. Gap down. It's exhaustive gap. An exhaustive gap means the price, they want to push price down to capture supply. Gap down, gap up. That's interesting. Gap down. Where did that take place? Up. This thing wants to go higher. See if there's any near-term target here. No. As you zoom in, targets can appear, everybody. So just because you don't see a target when you're out long, so when you're doing a longer forecast, does not mean you won't see a target as you zoom in. That's a little concerning, but it's rallying back hard. You have a lot of volume on this rally up. You do, however, have a gap down at 103. Yeah, but it's not substantial, and it's back far enough. Can't give an opinion on this one. There's nothing solid enough. If you ask what I think it's going to rally back up here into 135 and break through. I mean, that is what it appears to be trying to do. But I have to tell you, there's gaps down there at 100. It could easily head to 100 first. Easily. It's just not a position I would probably play. WBA and IP. Let's take a look. WBA. Look at that. There's a lot of volume down there. There's a lot of volume. Price is just sinking, though. I love volume at lows, but there has to be some price action follow through before you get excited. And I can tell you now, I see no price action follow through. You do have a target up here. I mean, even if they're just taking this thing to the down for a dirt nap, looks like there's a 50% move on a daily chart. It could take some time. Let's take a look. Let's zoom in. Okay, so your 4 hour is still sitting there. What about a 1 hour? Nope. What about, let's see if we see that volume and any price action as we zoom into a 30-minute. Not really. Yeah. I mean, look, if you're going out 8 weeks, I would say that you'd fill here. But in the same note, gosh, because it's massive, massive volume. And it definitely, I mean, this could be, I don't know if this was taken out of an index or something. That might have been the case here too. Yeah, I would stay away from this. I would just stay away from it. I can't really explain that volume because there's been zero price action to kind of validate why that volume occurred. Now, this volume occurred obviously for a run up on IP, but it's hit this high of 60 several times and not made it. And it looks like 10 to 60. Let's zoom into a weekly. So when it came down, it definitely found buyers here because price action is showing you that they did. Gap down, followed through up to a new high. Great sign on the daily chart. Small gap of 48. Nothing to worry about. That's this gap here. Get to a new high. Most likely that gap's going to fill before the run. But I'll tell you this. $9.17, 2004. I would not short here. All right. And I think that is all of our, that is all of our positions. So I'm going to stop right there. I want to thank you all for joining me today. As always, I really appreciate it. But listen, please like, follow, comment, share this with friends. Get it out there. I love doing these things. I'd love to keep doing them. Just a little reciprocation. So if you are enjoying this, or just let me know. Shoot me a message, and I'll keep these things going. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, remember, if you're not good up here, you're not good anywhere. If you're having a rough day, get outside, take a walk, see the sunshine, smile like an idiot for an hour. Fake it till you make it. I mean, sometimes that's what it takes, okay? You haven't failed yet. How do I know that? Because you're still here. You've never lost. You have never lost because you're still here watching. You're still in the fight. All right, everybody, remember the most important thing that you can ever remember is that every day above ground is a good day, and I'll see you all later.